We have discussed that atoms are made up of positively charged nucleus surrounded by one or more negatively charged electrons. These electrons orbit the nucleus. Before we look at some useful concepts, we first need to understand what electrons, protons, and neutrons are. So we have to understand what are electrons and protons and neutrons are. You have to understand that. So we are going to start with the electrons. We know that a nucleus is surrounded by one or more negatively charged electrons. Because now we are going to look at electrons, we are going to know what is an electron. So the electrons is a very tiny particle, very, very tiny, very, very tiny. It's like a point particle or elementary particle, very, very tiny. It has a mass of 9,11 times 10 to about the power of negative 31 kg. The electron carries 1 unit of negative electric charge, which is, for example, negative 1,6 times 10 to the power negative 19 coulomb. So now on, we are going to the nucleus. The nucleus, unlike the electrons, the nucleus can be broken up into smaller building blocks called protons and neutrons. So don't confuse the two. Don't confuse the neutrons and the nucleons. No, you must not confuse. Okay, so nucleus are very different from the electrons because they can be broken into smaller building blocks called the protons and the neutrons. They can be broken down. They can be broken down into smaller building blocks called the protons and the neutrons. Together, the protons and neutrons are called the nucleons. So the protons and the neutrons, when they combine, they are called the neutrons. Together, they are called the nucleons. Nucleons. Don't confuse neutrons and the nucleons. When you combine a proton and the neutrons, you have a nucleus. And the nucleus contain protons and the neutrons, which are called the nucleons. Don't confuse that. Now on we have the proton. The electron carries 1 unit of a negative electric charge, which is negative 1,6 times 10 to the power negative 19 coulombs. Each protons carry 1 unit positive electric charge, which is positive 1,6 and times 10 to the power negative 19 coulomb. Since we know that atoms are electrical neutral, so atoms are electrical neutral, they are zero, do not carry any extra charge. They do not carry any extra charge. It's like protons and electrons are equal in their numbers. Then the number of protons in an atom has to be the same as the number of electrons to balance out positive and negative charge to zero. So they have to be the same. Number of protons and number of electrons they have to be the same. They have to have the same positive and a negative charge to zero. So they have to balance out the positive and negative charge to zero. The total positive charge of a nucleus is equals to the number of protons in the nucleus. So the total positive charge of a nucleus is equals to the total number of protons in the nucleus. So the nucleus and the protons have the same number of a charge to positive charge. The proton is much heavier than the electron, which is 10,000 times heavier, and has a mass of 1,6726 times 10 to the power negative 27 kilogram. When we talk about the atomic mass of an atom, we are mostly referring to the combined mass of the protons and the neutrons. So when you talk about the mass of an atom, we are talking about the protons and the neutrons. We use well combined mass of the protons and the neutrons, which are called the nucleons. For example, nucleons. Now let's talk about the neutron. Okay, we're talking about the neutron. So most people confuse neutron with the nucleons. Neutron is the both combined mass of the protons and the neutrons. So a neutrons is a nucleons is a combined mass of protons and neutrons, while a neutron will combine with the proton to form a nucleus. The neutron is electrical neutral. For example, it carry no charge at all. It carry no charge at all. Like the proton, it is much heavier than the electron, and its mass is 1,6749 times 10 to the power negative 27 kilogram, slightly heavier than the proton. So electron and its mass. So like the proton, it is much heavier than the electron, with the mass of this slightly heavier than the proton, which means that neutron is much heavier than the proton.